says that the hero's journey is of a hero which applies to every man and woman on this planet. The 4 stages of the hero's journey is first, the quest. He says that every one of us are on a quest. But at the beginning, it is a leap of faith. We do not know what is at the end, but here is the problem and we need to do something about it and we need to brave it. So at the first stage, it is a little bit like tasting the waters. It's like not being sure, can I overcome this? Can I win over this problem? Can I solve it? But she tries, but he tries. The second stage is then the elevation, the confidence, the muscle development, the quest of achievement, the quest of trying to know, understand, get information, be curious, research. The third stage is when she or he overcomes the problem. When she or he achieves that extra faculty, that extra muscle, that extra strength, bravery, courage, vulnerability, whatever it requires to accept and overcome and triumph over the problem. But the hero's journey is never complete without the 4th step. When he or she brings that gift they have achieved over this journey back to the world and back to the regular life, back to the routine, back to the discipline, back to the mainstream that she or he were doing. So we don't always have to leave our job or leave our home and go up the mountains in a cave to meditate or make some drastic, big, earth-shattering changes in our life. When we face something, we need to be creative, be explorative, be imaginative, give it a try, develop it, win over it, and bring it back to make ourselves more empowered even in our current lives, or in our swerves, or in our changed lives, whatever it is. The reason I talk about the hero's journey in the context of a storytelling session is because I believe that just like a person and his or her life, each of our stories are also a hero's journey. It has a character, it has a context, it has a crisis, and unless you talk about that crisis, unless you solve that crisis, it will lead to a climax that will intensify it. But with your mastery in storytelling, you will bring it to a closure and you will mainstream it. You will leave each of your audience with a change of heart, with an action point to do, with something that will change the color of the audience, change the color of their hearts, and make them empowered with the gift you have to share with the world. So with this context of the hero's journey, our communication really becomes empowered, because now we have a structure in mind, now we have a goal in mind, and now we know how, when we are telling our next story, we are just not ticking off the next project on the pathways, or just completing a business presentation. Oh God, now it's done and let's hit the bar in the evening for a drink. We know that we have been able to make a difference, to change a life by changing our own lives. However, if that challenge is something that calls you to an action, and if you are going to be a new club who is chartering and who is wandering, it is at the stage of a leap of faith. It is at a stage when you are deciding and discussing in your mind, consulting your own body, mind, anxiety, or confidence, or courage, or vulnerability, to decide where does it lead? What will happen after all? Will I be, speaking like one of those speakers, or will I be just dabbling with it and coming back? And then you need reasons, you need logic, you need research, you need something to validate your decision. So let me give you a couple of reasons why storytelling works magic. First, you see, in today's time and age, in today's current world, where technology is practically doing everything that human beings could do once upon a time. Technology has really taken up all our muscle power work, and technology has really taken over all our information-based work, and technology is even taking up our skill-based work. Even the most difficult of the surgeries are being done by artificial intelligence, and eye surgeries and heart surgeries are being done without any human supervision. And in this time and this age, the only way left to be human is to be human. And to be human is to open your heart, to show your heart, to stand up and be seen, be heard, be understood. And how can you be understood unless you tell your stories? Like an old African proverb goes, unless the lion learns to tell his stories, the history will always glorify the hunter. Do you want other people to tell your story? Or do you want to stand up and tell your story? Do you want to individuate your presence? And do you want to become that person who looks into the mirror and says, there is no one like this person because nobody else has lived his or her life. Nobody else knows the wisdom, the lived experience, the treasure, the gold mine. That is this one person. So your challenge, your competition becomes yourself. You are not competing with the rest of the world anymore. And your skill, it is also not replaceable, because your company, your job, your venture, your whatever product, service, whatever you are selling or trading or interacting with the world with, all of those perhaps can be replaceable, but not the part of you that you infuse in it. And as I understand, many of you are entrepreneurs like myself. And unless we infuse a part of us into our product, into our marketing messages, into our personal branding, people don't believe what you say unless they know why you say it. Our stories help us tell people why we care, why we do what we do. And of course, it is a durable and transferable skill. It never goes out of fashion. So much so that if you think where stories come from, I would even challenge that stories come before language came around. Think of our ancient forefathers and foremothers. Before they discovered language, long back in a far land, maybe in Africa, they would all be coming into the caves to rest for the night, and during the day they would be out hunting and the women gathering. And around that time, when they would have just discovered firestone and how by striking one stone against another, they can invoke the sun on the earth. And in the evenings, when the sun would be down, they would perhaps light a bonfire and gather around it. And through grunts and through hand gestures and non-verbal cues, they would perhaps express, there's a wild animal there, they don't go there. The rain is coming, the monsoon is coming, this year will be a drought. They used to draw stick figures on the cave walls, which now we are excavating with help of archaeology. So stories are older than language. Stories happened to you as a child when your ears and your hearing capacity developed in the womb much before you saw the daylight. So stories are as powerful, as ancient, and as mystical as that. And think of what happens to your biology when you hear a story. Come it from your manager, come it from your customer, come it from your investor, come it from whoever. When we just start saying that once upon a time in a land far away, somewhere inside you, there's a little child which comes and sits cross-legged and eyes wide and jaws hanging. And what does that mean? When our eyes are wide, our sensory organs are ready to take in more. Our critical, logical, analytical mind is suspended because our imaginative eyes are opening up. So in that context, that story, the application of that story becomes very important. But here is the twist in the tale, as I promised. If we were talking about discomfort, if we were talking about leap of faith, now I want to challenge you and step up to the next challenge. Because before I give the solution, there has to be a crisis, which is intensified because we are not solving it. And here is the crisis. When you talk to an audience, it is not about your story. Just like right now, as I'm talking to you, each one of you on the screen, it's not about me. I'm not the protagonist of this story. You all are. It is always about the audience. If we use the screen time and the stage time to our advantage to tell the world about our brag stories, after a while, they would be switching on their mobile and going out of the room. Our attention span is less than that of a goldfish these days. And they have their own problems. They have their own crisis to solve. You have to enter the conversation in your head. You have to talk to them in a way that solves their problem, not your problem. Even if you're sharing your story, your first crush, your brother, your father, your daughter, your child, your home, your campus, your college life, there should be that part of it that they can relate to. A lovely quote that I had read somewhere: your audience, you must know, has a void in their heart, exactly in the shape of your words. You have to find that word that fills up the void in their heart, not yours. When I teach my sessions, there are 3 techniques that I primarily concentrate on when I talk about audience and rapport. The first thing is, I would like you to imagine going to a place, you and your friend, and you are looking at a house. So you are looking at one facade of the house and your friend is looking at the other facade of the house. And you say, wow, large windows and such a sunny side and north facing, and wow, what an open, lovely portico is this. And your friend says, where do you even see the window? I see chimney and gas, and this is so clumsy, and this is the dump yard. You are looking at the same house, but from different directions. Just like that, when we talk about our stories, we look at our stories, but from different directions, because we are looking at it from different directions. So it becomes impending on us, the storyteller, to go appreciate, understand the angle the audience is seeing, and then to quietly hold their hand and take them slowly, one step by one step, into your side, to show them your side of the story. The second one, nonverbal cues. Open arms, eye contact, facial gestures, just your availability, just your approachability. Your combination of authority and approachability that they can trust so much that they can eat out of your hand. Because trust, as they say, ranks even higher than love. And through your stories, you can win the trust of your audience, customer, investor, whoever. And of course, the third thing, your purpose. The thing is that, say, for example, you have a drilling machine, and this is an example I'm borrowing from Seth Godin. Many of you would have known him from the YouTube videos. So he says your audience, your customer doesn't need a drill. Your customer needs a hole on the wall. You don't go and talk about whether your drill machine is green or black, or how much it costs and what it pays. You talk about the whole of the wall that they are looking for. So your purpose of your story is to solve your audience problem, is to complete the hero's journey in your audience's heart. So with that, I guess I am at yellow, but there was a red before that. So I'm not really very sure of the time, but I will leave it to you to ask me questions if you have any. And I think that should help us close the workshop with some takeaways, with some change of the color of the heart for you, but not without one last comment from me. Those ancient times, those cave men and cave women, those bonfires they used to huddle around. Now the times have changed. We don't even realize, we don't use the sun for light. We have electricity. We have all the fancy, every single thing of material that can help us survive. But that fire hasn't died away. That fire is still alive in form of ideas, in form of passion. All the entrepreneurs who are the biggest industries in the world right now, the Google and the Facebook, they're all born of one idea, born out of first generation entrepreneurs out of garages. It is not about muscle power. It is not about money power. It is not about your lineage, what house, what parentage. It is about the power of one idea and how you can infuse that with story to create your life and to change the life of others.